One of the questions Dave and I get asked a lot is, what would your top piece of advice be for someone who wants to start managing their thoughts more effectively? So today, we're going to address that.
Welcome to another session of Inside Outlooks. I'm Dave Gorham, a mindset coach with a passion to make you show up as a superhero.
And I'm Matt Walley, a mindset coach with a passion for being just a little bit cooler than Dave. Join us as we take a look inside so we can change the world around us.
And away we go.
What I heard in the question, I think relates to who we are as mindset coaches. So, what is a mindset coach and what do they do? With a top piece of advice, everybody wants the one thing. I think we have to look at first is, where is your set point? Where's your mindset today? That's one of the things a mindset coach is going to ultimately do when they first meet you and you first start working with them. First, what's your set point? What are you focusing on, or where's your mindset today, and where do we need to take it? So it's, what have you been doing? What are you doing today, and where do you want to go? And that's how I would answer that first, and then start down the path of like a little bit of discovery with that client. I think it really goes more towards who we are as mindset coaches and what do we do. A mindset coach is going to help you be best version of yourself. It's not something that therapists actually work on, and coaches don't work on necessarily healing old wounds. That's their job. We're there to create something new. So a mindset coach is going to help you become first aware of what your thoughts are today. And
I think that's it, right? Because what your thoughts are today is your mindset.
Today,
and what we want to do is help people to be purposeful about what their mindset is, aware of what it is, and choose it rather than it choosing us. And the other thing I would say, like my standard answer for, what's a mindset coach or what's your job as a mindset coach is, look, we all make up bullshit stories in our head all day long, and then we walk into them. There's no fact, there's nothing else. It's just the self-talk, it's the imposter syndrome, it's all the other things we talk about. We walk into it. Well, we challenge people around the bullshit that they make up in their heads all day long. And so that they can start creating things. The imagination is a powerful, powerful thing. Every idea starts with imagination, but it can be used for negative and can be used for positive. It can go by default or it can go on purpose. So
that was a beautiful word. That's, you've never said that before, and I really appreciate it. You said, we make up these stories, we make up this bullshit, and then we walk right into it. If that's true, well, what we would agree to is that imagination, is ethereal. We make it up, and then we walk right into it. Like you said, the bullshit. We walk right into it, and we create our lives around it. So our lives now are not ethereal because we're living whatever that imagination was. So if that's true, we can make that bullshit be wonderful,
right?
And have the imagination walk right into that also. That's your mindset.
So somebody that is constantly thinking that somebody's thinking poorly of them, judging them for the way they look, whatever. Like, how often do they have a thought that's like, well, that person thinks I look beautiful today. That person thinks that I'm super talented. Like, we don't think that way, right? We think, oh, I think they're looking at me funny. Maybe they think I don't know what I'm talking about. Maybe they don't like my shirt. Maybe they don't, And so it's using the imagination either way, right? But most of the time, again, by default, the way we are as human beings, we default to the negative. So we want to be purposeful about imagining, because think about it. Isn't it better to imagine that somebody thinks you're a rock star and that you look awesome and that you're super talented and smart than it is to think they think your hair spiked up too high or whatever, but again, by default we go to most of the time the negative instead of the positive. And so imagination, let's create awesome experiences to walk into rather than ones we don't want.
The idea of what you're saying, what we're saying with imagination and thinking about that goes back to the original question is, what's the top thing I can do, or the top things I can do? As what we do as a mindset coach is we're going to ask questions about your thought process. We're going to challenge what we see to be a limiting belief. we're going to help paint,
Well, we're going to dig,
well, right,
right?
help paint a bigger picture of where
So
we could
let's give
take.
an example of that. So, and I think it's an easy example.
Yeah.
To me, anytime I hear a client say, "Well, I feel like I should
Yeah.
do something," I immediately go see the red flag on should. Where does the should come from? Is it should because society feels I should, or I think society expects that? Is it should because my parents raised me this way? Is it should because my spouse will be upset if I don't? Is it whatever? A should always means there's something else or someone else that you're bending to, right? Or you're creating their thoughts and you're walking into that, right? Rather than do you want to do something or do you do it because you should do
Yeah,
something?
it's guilt and shame, and it doesn't even need to be someone else's, right?
Right,
It
sure.
may be a thought process that might be formulated by someone else or a defining moment in your past. The idea is that now you control it, your imagination, what you said earlier. If I am imagining what Matt thinks about me, that's truly my imagination. That's not Matt. That's
Right.
me creating Matt in my own little movie. Now I'm the screenwriter. I'm the novelist and the screenwriter, then the producer, the actor, the casting director, and then I act in it, and then I promote the movie later, and I have a choice for it to be a traumatic, dramatic, horrible movie, or a fantastic one. And a lot
Yeah.
of times we choose the more negative aspect of that.
Well, for me, I go immediately to my former career as a performer to auditions. You have 3 people, 2 people, 5 people sitting at a table when you go in to do an audition. And you walk out with an impression of what you think they thought of you. And that's based on them whispering to each other, them writing notes, them not paying attention to you, whatever it is. And in fact, we have no idea. If one judge leans to the other and whispers in their ear, it could be where are we going for lunch, or it could be this person is phenomenal. We don't know.
Yeah.
But we make it up immediately. And most of the time we're not making up the positive again, right? And so it's just and you take that to the simple of walking into a room, into a meeting of people, into a new networking event, into whatever it is. And I think if we walk in going, okay, I'm going to imagine walking into a place, I'm going to imagine everyone in here is thinking really good things about me.
Yeah.
Like that seems weird, right?
It does seem weird, right? Well, it seems forced, foreign and
Forced, yeah.
forced, right? Because it doesn't come
And
from
I
top
would
of mind.
call it, let's call it purposeful instead of forced, right? It feels forced, but if you were purposeful about it and you just went, I'm going to think only positive things about what everybody else is thinking about me. And, I will use sometimes the people well, I just feel like this person was looking at me or I think this. And I said, okay, so let's reverse it. Put yourself in their shoes. Would you be thinking that about you? Well, no. So why are they thinking that about
Right.
you? Like you make these people out to be these judgmental people when in reality, you're not judgmental. You wouldn't judge that. So why are you thinking they are? Because you're beating yourself up, not because of what they're doing.
Yeah, and activating the imagination and curiosity at the same time, again, goes right back to the original question: is how do I change my mindset? Well, it's awareness first with curiosity, and then it's imagination later with curiosity, and in between you can challenge your limiting beliefs. You can do this by journaling and asking those questions like, what is my thought process? How do I start a project? What is my limiting belief maybe on my relationship or my job and my career? And stepping back and reading that as if you're the coach objectively, and being able to look at that limiting belief and say, is that true? And then from a true perspective is what's the percentage of that being true, and could the opposite be true also? And if the answer is yes, the opposite could be true, well, then you have a whole range of spectrum that you can pick from. Why are we picking the negative?
Right.
And we did another podcast about habits. The idea here is that creating that habit of first just questioning, just curiosity, no shame, no guilt, no like why or how part of it. And you can do that through a journal and take your time and create that good habit.
It could be as
I was going to
it could be
say, with a
as
coach.
simple. Yeah, go.
With a coach, that's someone who's going to keep you on path, right? That's someone who, it's research has proven that a client with a coach far exceeds their personal goals than without. That doesn't mean to say that you can't achieve your personal goals. Question is what runway would you like to have, a short one or a long one? And that's short and long is only relative to where you're standing and what you think is short and long. So, the idea here of like, what can we do? And also what is a mind coach and how do we approach it? We're from a basis standpoint, we're entering it from awareness, and we're looking at how you're thinking today and then building a map to how to think tomorrow.
Thanks for listening, and remember, your outside world is an inside job. See you next time.
Hey, can we get 2 more over here? Make them doubles.